Hello, and as promised, along with the Forgive My Fins review, this is Daughters of the Sea, Hannah. This is the first book, and I have three of them. I'm currently reading the second book. So let's get to the stars. 5 out of 5. This was amazing. First off, let me just explain that when I picked up all these young adult mermaid books, because I had reviewed a lot of adult romance mermaid books, I really wanted to see if they were different, if they were set up different, and this one really was. As a matter of fact, I really loved it because it was quite complicated. At first I was like, well, wait a minute, isn't this supposed to be a book about a mermaid or something? Because when we open, we just find out that there is this orphan who is trying to find a job. And because she has grown too old to stay in the orphanage. And as we go through it, she becomes like a scullery girl and then a maid, and she meets all these interesting people, and one of them is even a cat. And the cat's owner is kind of like crazy. But there was a lot of character development in this book. Most of the time, in a lot of young adult books, like, you see one or two characters who are just like real people, and the rest of them are kind of gray or black and white. They're not complicated, but the characters in this book were really diverse in looks, in attitude, in appearance. We have a butler who is kind of like well, I guess he's a butler. Yeah, that's what I would associate him with. But he's kind of like a wise guy, or like a smarty pants, and he's always trying to make himself seem bigger than what he really is. And then we have the head of the household. And the whole time I was reading this, I was thinking, man, that just seems like a Molly Weasley from Harry Potter. It just hit me that way. And she had all this attitude, and she was kind of a larger woman. And she was just like, yep, I don't care if this is my boss's daughter. I would just love to spank her. And she's really loud, and I really enjoyed that. And then we had the three daughters, and we had one that was kind of a bookworm educated type. Even though she was extremely gorgeous, people most of the time didn't look at her because she was so intelligent. And then we had the youngest daughter, who was a tomboy, likes to go swimming, doesn't really like to wear dresses. And then we have the eldest daughter, who is completely mad. Like, she's nuts. And she's kind of crazy. And she has this cat, and it's like her... I don't know. I really want to read the second and third book, because I need to know if she turns out to be like a witch or something, because she does all these crazy things to the main character. And like, for 2/3 of the book, you have no clue that she's a mermaid. It just talks about how she has to be near the sea or else she gets ill. So she takes a job as a scullery girl for people in Boston, and then they go to this island, and she just feels great. And she has this weird connection with like a piece of artwork in their house. But, you really don't see her turn into a mermaid until like the end of the book. The last few pages. And that was really the only issue I had with this book, but it wasn't a huge one because I know that there's three of them. So I'm kind of wanting to find out like how she felt about what happened at the end of the book. But it was extremely well written, and I fell in love with all the characters in the book. So much so that now that I'm reading the second one, I'm really hoping to see them in the second one, even though it's focusing on a different girl, because they were really well written characters. They were the kind of characters that you remember, and they're not just gonna fade into the darkness or whatever. So that's why I gave this book 5 out of 5, because the ending was a little, I wanted to know more than what the ending gave me, and I don't know if she did that on purpose, like as a cliffhanger, or if it just fell flat. So I'm going to read the next 2 books and see what I think of them. And then, if, but I really, really love her writing. I love the style because the characters are just like real people. They're all different. There's no generic characters. That's a good word for them. Generic characters. They either show one emotion or something like that. But that's kind of like even the villain in this book, the eldest daughter. She shows a lot of emotion, like different emotions. Like, yeah, she pretty much despises everybody else, and she has the hots for a painter in the book. But you can tell that she really, really does love her cat. She sneaks chicken livers up to it all the time just because the cat loves it. And she takes care of the cat everywhere with her and everything else. So, I mean, she shows a lot of different emotions. And I love characters like that because that's the characters that you're going to remember. Because they are so complex. And this was just an excellent book. It was a young adult book. But I think that anybody can enjoy this book. So, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have read this, tell me what you think. And if you've read the other 2 books, tell me what you think of the series as a whole. And other than that, I will see you soon with my next review, which will be on May, which is the second book in this series.